Hi everyone, it's Natalie here. This is going to be the reading for the new moon and the cycle that comes up with this new moon. Since it fell, I'm kind of cheating. I feel like I'm kind of cheating, even though this is how I started the year. But we're close enough to the weekend with this new moon that I feel like it's okay to do it this way. Um, yeah, I didn't have the ability to do my usual new moon reading and weekend reading this week because, well, life work, etc., and some different things that came up over last week. So every time I sat down or thought I'd be able to have a minute or two to record and get it prepared, something came up. So that's how we are. But this week I thought I would use the beautiful Gentle Tarot for this. I'm really enjoying this deck a lot. It really has such a wonderful, wonderful voice, and it's just so beautiful. It's just so, so beautiful. Oh, it's lovely. So, yeah. So, we're going to work with this deck this week. This is our Fool. So going under the under the big fish and into the deep waters of the unknown, diving into that void. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle our Fool into the deck and switch the camera around, and I will see you on the other side of that. So quick thank you to Sarah and Nancy for the beautiful candle. The video that I put out about the special gift that I unboxed, this was part of the gift. So it's making a wonderful addition to practice today. I don't overhand shuffle this deck because at least because the finish on it makes it hard to do the shuffle, the overhand shuffle, but it does riffle beautifully. It seems very durable. Okay, so aha, so we're in the wands pile this week, and you can see from the way that I was having to kind of pull them apart, some of the cards are slidey and some are not. So I would imagine as I work with them, they'll get a little easier. So each of these piles represents one of the suits, and I've been through this many times, but we'll do it again because every now and again a question comes up. So we have wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. Also stands in for the tetragrammaton, yod, hey, vav, hey. It is right to left instead of left to right because we are working with a Hebrew writing and lettering system. So, yeah, that's the bottom line there. Let's get these out of the way. We know that because we're working with the fire pile, the wands pile, that the best way to solve any problems that come up this week is going to be through intuition. So we can trust our intuition to lead us to find answers to any problems or situations that arise. It's also the pile that dictates spirituality, matters of the soul, creativity, career, etc. So we will look to see what kinds of new and exciting things are coming up for us over this new moon cycle. I keep forgetting it's not for the week, it's for the new moon. So, yeah, as we go through this next phase, this next month, that's what we're going to be working with. That's what we're going to be working with. So, this little fishy is headed to the right, so I'm going to go ahead and take the right-hand path this time because of that. Okay, so we've got our Fool here. We're counting to the right this time. So the Fool is an elemental card. So including our Fool, we'll start counting 1, 2, and 3 because that's how many are in there. So our first card is the 10 of Thunder, aka the 10 of Swords. All right, so that's a count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have the High Priestess. How about that for intuition? High Priestess is a 9, so she's planetary, the moon. And we're going to keep on this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4 of Thunder, aka 4 of Swords. Then we have, so we got 4 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, nice. Flower of Wands, or Queen of Wands. So that's a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So we have 4 cards. That's helpful. So we're bringing something into manifestation. So 10 of Thunder, High Priestess, where'd it go? 4 of Thunder, and the Flower of Wands. All right. So I will see you on the other side. Here we are. As I said before, we have 4 cards. So in this new moon cycle, it definitely would seem as though we're manifesting something new. Something new is in the works. We're going to use our intuition hardcore to get it accomplished. Very exciting. So it would seem that a lot of us feel right now as though we've been having to start from the ground up. Right? Like a lot of things have been lost. Like there's been a lot of things that haven't gone quite right, and we're having to kind of start over again, or we're climbing from the bottom up. I don't know, the bottom up keeps hitting me. She's looking upward. She's kind of reaching like she's climbing a wall or something. You know, this is where a lot of us may be experiencing the world or our lives right now. It could be related specifically to a career, you know, to our career. It could be specifically related to a particular project. You know, it could be the start of a new spiritual life or spiritual practice after the previous one didn't work out well. That's also something that occurs to me. That happens a lot for folks, unfortunately. It is part of our journey, I think, when we're very deeply spiritual, to have disappointments, difficulties, and so forth, the challenges. It's what happens, and it's gut-wrenching, and it's horrible when it happens. And it gets better. It does get better. I can say that from a lot of experience with this, and some very, very, very dark nights of the soul. So hang in there if that's you. It's not a bad place to be starting from, however, right? We have a 10-1 aspect here. So 10 and 1, if you think of numbers cyclically, right? Kind of like the circle we just had with our cards. We started, you know, with 1, we count all the way up to 10, and we're back at where we started. But it's more like a spiral, you know? It's more like a Fibonacci sequence of increasing intelligence and increasing consciousness. So whatever it was that we learned before is coming into our path right now. So we're not beginning from the beginning anymore. We're beginning from a new place that from which we bring our previous experience, our previous lessons, you know, the things that are in our mind from the past that can be useful. We can use those things. I'm going to point to this little rainbow here. We're going to say that those things are like a little stepping stone that gets us to the next part of our path where we want to go. It's a way of shifting our consciousness a little bit higher, you know, by embracing the past, embracing those mistakes, embracing difficulty as part of the experience, no matter what it is that we're starting that's new. No matter where that's going to take us, okay? How are we going to start that climb? We're going to step into a new place. We're stepping into a new place. This is a fascinating thing to me. You know, the owl, well, I love owls anyway, and I especially love a great horned owl. They're some of my favorites. They have such a beautiful hoot that's almost like a pearl, a purr, like a purr from a cat. We're stepping into our intuition. We're taking everything that we've known from before, everything that we have from previous experience, and we're using that to inform our intuitive hits. And really, you know, this is our only major arcana card here as well. I think that's extremely significant. And it's also the second card, as is the High Priestess. So that's very prominent. That tells me that in many respects, a lot of us, most of us, anyone watching this, you're here for a reason. You too are going to find that over the next month, you're stepping into this role much more fully as the High Priestess, as someone with knowledge of what's behind the veil, as someone who feels deeply at ease with their intuition and, you know, holds the keys to whatever is next. It also tells me, you know, there's a reason that Eliphas Levi said to keep silent, to keep silent. When we practice, there are some of our practices that we should really, and some of our intuitions, some of our divinations that really are best kept quiet, that really are just for us. So I think too, we're looking at what do we need to keep quiet, to keep silent, to keep to ourselves. There's a lot of stillness, you know, aside from this climbing out. We're moving into a phase of stillness and greater ease, greater spaciousness, but it starts from a place of knowing deeply that we can trust who we are, we can trust our intuition, we can trust our intuitive hits, we can trust what we know on a spiritual level. We can also trust that we're going to probably be asked for a lot of insights from other people. You may find that you're the person that people are coming to for advice, for counsel, and so forth. And you don't have to do anything, right? Don't think for a minute that this means you have to do something or prove something. Because actually, you know, the thing about the High Priestess is she holds the book. She perches on the branch, but she's not necessarily sharing what's in there with anyone else. In other words, again, you can hold space, and that'll come up again here with our Flower of Wands. But, you know, part of your role, part of what you're intended to do is to be still and to be silent. You know, to be still and silent and quiet, hold space, hold presence. Presence is incredibly healing, especially if someone you care about or someone who approaches you who's suffering is in need of deep listening. The ability to sit with them and listen without judgment is tremendous. So if you have the ability to do that, don't discount it as something that is not especially useful, because it is. It's incredibly useful and valuable. So if that's you, just keep in mind that this is going to be part of that journey. It may be too that some of you who are witches, some of you who are witches that do work on behalf of others, you know, you may be called upon right now. You may be called upon in your own life or in someone else's life in this new moon cycle. So, yeah, there's a lot here, folks. There's a lot here. That said, the best way to access this intuitive space and to step into that role is to find the best way to put your mind at ease. And we have here in our third position of 4 cards, a 4. We have a 1 and, you know, a 10-1, 2, 4, and 13-4, which I think is very interesting. So we're being, this is something that's manifesting into realness. It's going to impact your life. It's going to impact your work. It's going to impact your physical body. It's going to impact what you manifest, all of this, right? So this climbing, This shifting, taking your knowledge with you, stepping willingly into the role or into an archetypal position as the high priestess. You're going to need to find space for yourself with this Four of Thunder. Find space to be still, to be quiet, to recollect, to restore, and then find the way to keep the mind still. The mind is going to move, by the way. That's what it does. The mind moves. It just does. It's an organ. The brain is an organ. The brain likes to produce thinking. The key is to let the brain do its thinking and throw its temper tantrum, but observe it while it's doing it. Step back. You don't have to prove anything while it's doing that. All you have to do is simply be present for it. And that's really the heart of meditation, is just to be present for what it is that comes up. But if you give yourself that space and time to be present for what comes up, it's going to become, it's going to be beautiful. Even if you don't meditate, folks, even if you're not someone who feels comfortable meditating or it's just not your thing. I mean, I had a teacher once, a wonderful teacher. His name was Guo Gu. And he used to say, who's stupid enough to show up at a meditation center to sit in a crazy pretzel position and breathe while you're completely uncomfortable, surrounded by strangers, and listening to some strange guy sit at the front of the room and tell you crazy things. Who's going to do that? So, if meditation's not your thing, don't worry. I mean, that's, you also don't have to sit in a crazy pretzel position. So just as an FYI. But, if the very least you're going to want to spend some time alone, this is definitely pointing to a phase of the moon this month that tells us we need more space, more alone time, more of an ability to take care of ourselves. A lot of self-care. The mind is going to be tired. The mind is going to be tired. It's going to need space to assimilate a lot of things, a lot of intuitive hits about what's going to happen next. That's a big need we all have. What happens next? Well, the space and time spent in silence, is coming from this place, is going to be so restorative, and it's going to give us a lot of our power. So in our position 4 here, we end up with the Flower of Wands. So it's taking us, we have a progression that's moving us ahead. We're taking steps towards something better. We're making a jump even. We're going from a 10-1 to a 2 that's a very, very empowered 2 to a 4, and then finally to a 13-4, numerologically speaking. So this Flower of Wands is the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is amazing. This is someone with a great deal of power to hold the space for creation to come out. And I love that there's a flame in the heart of this bird. So this bird, this raven or crow, has a flame in their heart. So our ability to be compassionate, to be passionate as well about what we do and about sharing it with others, holding space for others to share it with us, is going to become very important and prominent. And we're finding the way to embed these principles and properties into our lives. So if we look at this from a spiritual perspective, or we look at it as, something that might affect our careers for some of us, we're taking the lessons of the last months, the last cycles, which may have left us feeling a little bit lacking, or like, we've been defeated, or we're having to start something from a new place. So it may not be that the whole thing, crashed and burned, but there is an aspect for most of us that's going to feel like we're starting something new. I definitely have that feeling. It's like I put all of this time and effort and energy into building things to move forward, only to find that they're just not going anywhere yet. But it's because sometimes the way that things work is not logical. It's just not. I mean, just to quote a great absurdist, an absurdist playwright, and keeping in mind that we are living in a time period that I think the original absurdists of the 1950s and 60s would find pretty much qualifies as absurd, right? It's this notion that life, trying to put, there's so much I could talk about here. I'm trying to just distill it down. Essentially, life doesn't always make sense. It doesn't always make sense. It doesn't always move in ways that make sense. It's not logical. And there's a moment in the Zoo story by Edward Albee where one of the characters says, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, sometimes you have to go around a long way. Sometimes you have to go a long way in the wrong direction in order to come back the right way correctly. Something like that. That I think of that sometimes when I'm trying to drive someplace and I've driven a long way out of the way and just in order to turn around, to be able to turn around and go back, and get back on the right track. So, don't worry. It's all part of the journey. If you're on the journey, you're on the path, you're in the right place, you're at the right moment. So use that as a basis, for understanding that this is okay. Wherever you are right now, it's okay. It's the right place. From that climbing up, we're stepping into a position of great power. It may be a little bit lonely there at the top at moments, but we're moving into something that's much deeper and more profound. We're holding the key to what's behind the veil. Our intuition is going to be rocking over the next month. So you may find that you are the person that everyone comes to for problem solving, for bouncing ideas off of. If you're a witch or a tarot reader, you're going to find that people are knocking on your door much more than they had been previously. Boy, I hope so. And it's going to kick things off. So we're going to need to give ourselves time to let the mind rest, to give the mind a chance to go, to be at ease, to give the body a chance to be at ease and recover, and find just a little bit of peace and stillness, because things are in the process of becoming and of manifesting with this 4 energy that's really strong this week. Then we end with the Flower of Wands. So as all of this takes place, again, it's bringing us into our power as queens. We can expect the flowering of our intuition, the flowering of spiritual lessons, the blossoming of spiritual lessons, intuition, connection to source, connection to creativity, If you're an artist, this would be like, I can't quite get my grip on things, having various ideas and things come to you through the stillness, intuitively. You may find that you're in a completely different phase. In fact, if you're an artist, you're moving into a different way of creating your work with this aspect. And it's going to be through the stillness, non-doing, and relaxing into it that you're going to get your best ideas and carry them out as well. So there's not as much effort. This is a very yin reading, despite it, it's very balanced in that way. But it's very, very balanced on the side of yin, of opening space in order for the yang to come through. Yeah. So even though the suits are, aside from the High Priestess, the suits are very young, right? Wands and swords, pointy objects. What we've got here is, air and fire, again, very young, but the cards selected here within that are not coming from that place. The High Priestess is also very dark, but that quiet, that receptivity is what allows, look at how that color shifts too. We've got the orange and the reds and the bright yellows and so forth here, coming from this dark, bird, this dark being, that's very yin, it's the receptivity. So being open to that creativity, to be inspired, is going to be a big part of this coming phase as well. Yeah. Yeah. Very, very much. Yeah, there's so many ways this could go. I know I have a writer who watches. Uh, in terms of writing, this would be taking all of the knowledge and things that have informed your writing in the past, whether they worked or didn't work, and finding that next step and climbing, taking a huge leap to a place where the intuition flows, the writing is straightforward and easy, and before you know it, the book is completed. Yeah, I mean, it's a very fruitful cycle that's coming up. So hang in there. If it doesn't feel right away like it's all coming into place, it's, relax, because it will. It definitely will. So with that, I wish you all a beautiful month to come, and certainly a beautiful week to come. And I will see you on the 17th or 18th for the coming cycle after that. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.